You familiar with the Stu Peters? Does that name ring a bell?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you familiar with Mr. Stu Peters?
Put out an epic documentary about the very real Jewish occupation and control of our government.
He made 8 separate appearances on his podcast.
Mr. Gates, you also called Elon Musk's political influence abroad, quote, insane, along with another word we can't repeat here. But what's your take on his political access and influence here in America right now?
Well, Elon, his private sector work, has been very innovative, really fantastic. A lot of private sector people, when they get into government, they don't take the time necessarily to see what the good work is or why it's structured the way it is. So I'm a little worried, particularly with this USAID stuff. My foundation partners with USAID on nutrition and getting vaccines out. And, there's incredible people. They're not actually worms that work there. So, hopefully we'll get some of that work back in shape. In fact, if we don't, you could have literally millions of deaths. So, with aid, people think, wow, how much do we give to these countries? As you said, it's less than 1%. People think it's 5% and it should be 2%, but it's actually under 1%.
Wow. And still saving lives. Well,
so these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap, eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners, close the carried interest tax deduction loophole, tax cuts for Made in America products. This will be the largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. The president is committed to working with Congress to get this done.
You're making the hair on my arms go up because you're describing what's happened in our country.
Yes.
You're describing the 2017 Charlottesville march, the Nazi march. You're describing what happened on January 6th. You're describing the riots after George Floyd was murdered. You're describing the rise of rap music and drugs in our city and trainee story hour. You're describing all the trends in our country that seem to arise out of nowhere, whose net effect is to destabilize America, to fray the social fabric, to divide people from each other, to make them easier to control, and in the case of Trump's first term, to undermine the White House.
What was done in this case in Bangladesh, and these leaked documents from the Gray Zone show this, a plan to destabilize Bangladesh politics. They sought the LGBT population to Bangladeshi ethnic minority groups and student groups. They turned around and they took U.S. taxpayer funds and they funded Bangladeshi rap groups to produce songs and music videos insinuating that people should take to the streets and do street protests. This is, for example, how we end up funding terrorist groups and paramilitaries. It's the coalition of the fringes and the extremes and the weirdos and the criminals and the prostitutes.
What you're describing that we did in Bangladesh is what's happened here. And so it raises the question, like, was that all by design also? And of course it was.
These deposits are priceless. It is huge amounts of money. Huge. That is why we need to protect it. So if we are talking about a deal, that's what the Americans want, then let's do a deal. We are only for it. Let's do the deal. This is what
Hey guys, Carlos Cortez here with another episode of Scriptures in Wall Street. I hope you are doing well. This is the first week in February 2025. And let me say my disclosure here for those of you that are watching. Everything on this podcast is meant for education and information purposes only. I am not giving financial advice. If you would like financial advice, then obviously find one. Find a financial advisor that can give you professional advice, or you can simply give us a call, 813-448-3446. You can visit us at cortezwm.com, and also get a hold of my free book. I wrote it a while ago, but it's still pertinent to today. We talk about why people's money is not safe, why you're not getting consistent rates of return, and why investment should be held in America, not in China, not in Ukraine, or any other place that you really don't align yourself politically or spiritually, or now medically, right? But also number 5 is people don't have an advisor that they're working with that believe in what they believe in. Most of the time I speak to advisors and most of the time I speak to clients with advisors, and their advisor is at Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley or Edward Jones. And I ask the client, do you know what they stand for? Are you okay with that? Have they even asked you, what are some areas that you do not want to invest in because of your beliefs? Have they even offered? I mean, the client could ask the advisor, hey, what do you think about the vaccine? Are you vaccinated? Do you go to church? Like, tell me about you. And you could ask. And if they hesitate, then you have your answer. How powerful is that? How powerful is to be on the same page as your current advisor? Because, hey, I don't know what they have you in. I mean, they could have you in risky investments, high standard deviation investments. They could have you funding things that you do not agree with. Like, do you really want to take the Pfizer jab? Do you really want to fund Duracell, which is the #1 battery for abortion clinics? Do you want to fund LGBT legislation? Do you want to fund the killing of innocent people when you're buying diamonds or whatever that blood money is? Are you funding addictions, pornographic addictions? Are you funding that? And so I honestly believe that God won't bless you if you're funding these things and you hold a blind eye to it. But that's not for everyone. And maybe you have a great relationship with your advisor. Maybe he's a conservative. Then why are he or she is working for the big company that's publicly traded? You have to ask yourself these questions. So I like to use the barber analogy. Like, a good barber will open up his own shop. There's no reason for him to work at Salon Lofts or Sport Clips or Fantastic Sam's. They want to start their own gig. Doesn't matter how good they are. That would be very dumb for them to do that, because now they would not get paid what they're worth or by performance. So I want to just kind of clear the air here and talk about some things that are weighing on my heart. First and foremost, pray for my daughter. We just found out that she has a neurodevelopment disorder. And basically, it's she rages a lot and she gets angry, and she doesn't have the ability to control her emotions. So it's very, very tough on us and my family. So I just ask that you keep my daughter in prayer. Her name's Rachel. She's my beautiful, beautiful firecracker. And we're going to use that as a gift. We're going to figure the ways out to use it as a gift. And one thing I will say is I will never give up on my daughter. I would never give up on any of my kids. And it is a gift. It is a gift that we can learn more about her. I have to be more intentional. I've yelled at her. I spanked her. I've done things that I'm not really proud about as a father. And I had to ask her for forgiveness. And it's hard for me not to pick up shame. It's hard for me not to pick up guilt for what I've done to my daughter because I didn't understand her own language. And so it was very crushing to me to go through that experience. If you've been through a similar experience, maybe your kid has ADHD like mine, maybe they have multiple personality disorder. I don't know, but feel free to email me info@Cortez. Tell me your story. I do get a lot of inspiration by other people's experiences. And that's what life is about. Like we got to have our experiences to relate to. And I really feel that God puts you in a situation so you can walk away from that experience and gift others that advice and experience so that they can learn from your mistakes, from your trials and errors, from your life journey. And so when you get punched in the mouth, when bad things happen to you, it is actually a gift because you will learn. You're always winning or you're learning, never losing. So you got to be careful with your language, especially when it comes to your money. And so what I want to talk about is that there's a lot of opportunities out there. As I said last podcast is, let me go ahead and put up these charts here. So we talked about, oh man, I got to share this. This is awesome. So look, I am going to bring up Bitcoin real quick. So check this out. We have Bitcoin. We have a growth signal, all traffic lights. Everything looks great. Everybody's, oh yeah, Bitcoin's going up, going up, going up. But guess what's happening here? We're starting to see a massive, massive momentum shift. My long-term traffic lights are turning red. I got a signal here. So here's the thing that you guys need to know. For those of you that want to get into Bitcoin, I would wait. Simply put, again, it's not investment advice. This is for education purposes only. Sorry, I got a text. I got distracted. There is an ETF out there. Now, I want to make sure that you guys understand that this is a very risky investment. This is a leverage ETF, but I want to share for information purposes only because I just showed you Bitcoin and it was going up, but there's a little bit of smudge right there where you saw that red. You remember that? Well, this actually does well when Bitcoin goes down. So, believe it or not, I just bought some call options here on 11. We'll see if I make money, if I lose money. But if it goes to $11, then all those options will be in the money and I could sell out for a huge profit. But this is how you make money with the volatility, guys. Bitcoin is going down. It is a short. You start to see this green momentum swing on my analyzer software. We're starting to see short-term growth. So what happens is that this actually ETF makes money on the sell, the short side when it goes down. So what's really cool about this ETF, they'll buy the puts, they'll buy the options so that you don't have to. And all you got to do is just buy SBIT, which is SBIT, and it's literally shorting Bitcoin. Now, the danger about this is that if Bitcoin does skyrocket back up, you will have a worthless investment here. Again, this is not investment advice. You could lose a lot of money in this, so only put what you can afford to lose, guys. But for those of you that think Bitcoin will go down, and I think it will, and this is going to be a short-term trade, by the way. I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see volatility. Bitcoin will go down possibly to 85 and maybe even lower if it breaks through that psychedelic support level. It could go past 85,000, possibly even a 60. So when Bitcoin falls, it is going to produce a 40 to 60% decline. This is cyclical. It is a natural cycle that Bitcoin goes to. What happens typically, it just goes up and it comes down. Actually, let me not talk about it. Let me just show you because I have my own bias, right? So let me change my template here. So here are the cycles, guys. So when Bitcoin went up, obviously it hit all-time high at that point, and then it shot back down 45, 50%, and then it shot back up 45, it shot back up more than 100% back in 21. And then boom, it went down, it went back up, went back down. And people were like, oh, Bitcoin is dead. It was never coming back. And it shot back up. You guys remember that back in 22 to 23, Bitcoin just stayed stagnant. It was around 30,000 for months. I would say a whole year. Yeah, close to a whole year. And then it slowly started creeping back up, and then it shot back up in 24. It hit that 100,000 mark in 24. I thought it was going to happen in 2022, but it happened in 2024. I was a little too early for the game. And so here we go. We have this all-time high. You tell me, guys. You tell me. We have a huge red candle right now. And look at this traffic lights. They're turning red. You tell me. You don't have to be a stock analyst on this or a trader analyst. Like, this is just a cyclical formation. We can get back to this low here, which I think that's where we're going to go. And I have a lot of mastermind trading groups in my trading group that are shorting it, and they're looking to make some big money on this correction. Now, once it hits this bottom, that's when we want to start buying and obviously take advantage of it. Now, Bitcoin, for those of you that are trying to get into Bitcoin, you want to make sure that you're only investing in something that you're okay with having 40 to 60% drawdowns. Like, there's months where you will lose 50% of it, and you have to be okay buying it at that rate, at that low price point. So I think the days are gone where we see a 30,000 Bitcoin, a 40,000, possibly even a 50,000. I think those days are gone, because once it hits this new level, it's kind of finding a new home. So it wants to find a new home. So it tests a new home, and then it goes down and it finds like a stable home at that price point. But we know that people are going to want to pump this up. We have institutions that want it, not even including the scarcity of the halving of Bitcoin itself. So you just have to use it as a trade, guys. Do not get emotional about it. It is just a trade. I don't care what your feelings say. I don't care what Trump is doing. I don't care what he says. It is about the trade. It legit is about the trade. And Bitcoin is going down, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Okay. Everything I say on this podcast is for information purposes only. Sometimes I look like a clown. Sometimes I look like an idiot, and I'm okay. I'm okay with having an L on my forehead, but I don't miss a lot. But I will admit when I do miss. But this is what I like to see. We have low ADX. This is converting over, and it just makes economic sense. It makes mathematical sense. It makes trading sense. And the formation of the price action is perfect right now. So SBIT, if you want to make a quick buck, I would look at that. Of course, past performance is not indicative of future results. This is not investment advice, but it's pretty fun to watch, to short Bitcoin. It could be a week or two trade, guys. It's not a long-term trade. You will get hurt because Bitcoin will eventually go to 250,000 in a year or two, and possibly 500,000 within 4 to 5 years, and possibly $1 million inside of 10 years. So yes, this is just a short-term trade. If you got a few bucks, a few $1,000 you want to throw at it, you could. And if you're okay with losing it, it's just an idea, guys. It's just information. So I'm not recommending this as a stock. It's just something that I'm looking at personally. So I'll show you something really, really cool, like completely off the subject because my ADD is kicking in and I can't stay. You guys know I don't do scripts, but I want to show you something pretty cool. Is TNA. TNA is a small caps, and we got a little death cross here. I'm just waiting for this thing to come down a little bit. And once it does, TNA is 3 times the Russell 2000, which is IWM. So IWM is actually the ETF that tracks the Russell 2000. So we have small caps. And look what we just got here, February 6th. Woo, a buy signal. So we got a buy signal. Oh my goodness, this is going to be gangster. Wow. I'm just seeing this now, guys. I had no idea there was a buy on the Russell 2000 IWM. So, holy smokes. I wasn't prepared for this, man. Why did I even look? Oh man. Okay. All right. I got to do it tomorrow. I'm going to look at it. I'll probably go live. But what I want to do is I love this setup here, guys. I don't even have a buy signal, but I got a buy signal on the IWM, which is the Russell 2000. It's the ETF that covers the Russell 2000. TNA is going to be 3 times. Yes, tits and ass, if you want to go ahead and laugh. TNA is 3 times the Russell 2000. This is my baby, y'all. This is my baby. This is a very volatile ETF. I made 1,100% in 1 year just trading this bad boy during COVID. Like, I remember when this thing was at $10. When was it? During COVID. Let me go back. Yeah, man, this thing was sexy back then. I didn't have this luxury of having these AI-based scanners and these cool charts that I have now, but this puppy was over $10 back in during COVID, and I bought it here. I bought it like really, really low. Let me shrink this. Let me just shrink this so it'll be a lot easier to see. Yeah, I bought this around. Yeah, I'm sorry, not $10. It was like $15. I bought it at $15, and I got a Blue Cross all the way up. And then after COVID, it just boom, golden cross. I made money from here to there, sold out here, bought some call options, took advantage of this swing, and then bought some long-term ETFs, and it just literally went like 3 times. Like I made like 600% in less than 2 months. It was just crazy talk. And then it went down, and so I bought TZA, which shorts, which makes money off of the short-term side, the sell side of the small caps. So I just haven't been really trading it for the past year because it's just been like in this consolidation. But I really feel that we are going to take off as we have this AGI, this algorithm, the UFOs, the NVIDIA, the social credit score. As we see all this tax relief coming, the businesses are going to start booming in the NASDAQ area. And I'll talk about the NASDAQ here in a minute, but it's important to understand that we have to be ready when these things take off. Now, I'm not talking about retirement, guys. I'm talking about for those of you that just want to make money in the markets through the manipulations. This is who I'm talking to. I should have said that in the beginning. But this is fun stuff for me, man. Like I just want to make sure you guys are aware of it, that you heard it here first on Scriptures on Wall Street. Let me just look at the S&P real quick. Everybody wants to talk about the S&P. It's going up. Like I got all green signals on the S&P 500. So everything looks healthy. The volatility index is at 1550. Once this volatility index starts to go higher than 18, we'll see more volatility. Typically, when this volatility index goes up, we start to see market corrections. And it did shoot up to 18 recently, just this week. Oh, boy. We got a signal. Oh, my gosh. We got a signal on. Let me double, triple check this, guys, before I start talking. Oh, shucks. Okay. We got a buy signal at 1627 on the volatility, meaning this is going to go up. Holy smokes. Now, you can't buy the volatility index, but what you can buy is VIXY, and you can buy that ETF. So even though I don't have a buy signal here, well, I got it on the actual index. It may take a week or two for this to populate. Let me put this on a 4-hour. And let me check the weekly. Yeah, so I'm on a daily. I usually use a daily to find the fish that I want to catch. But yeah, you guys know I've been talking about VIXY for a long time. So we might see a little bit of downtrend on this one, maybe in the high 30s, and then I probably will buy some call options here to take advantage of the volatility in the markets. Now, for those of you that don't even understand what I'm talking about, it's all good. You don't need to know how to trade. I just like to trade swing trades. I do trade every morning with my group because I don't like feeling a slave to the screen. I like freelancing. I like doing it when I'm inspired. I'm in a better mood. So this is why I like swing trading, because I can go in and out as I please, be with my family, and not feel like I have a 9 to 5. When it comes to VIXY, this is the ETF that you can buy, and it is 100% correlated to the VIX index, the volatility index. So if you think that the Trump tax is going to jack up the economy, which it will, then you probably want to look at VIXY. If you think there's going to be more volatility and chaos, then you probably want to look at VIXY. So also, let's check up on my other baby. You guys know what time it is. Boom. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Guess what we got here, baby? We got our green bars on TMF. Woo-wee. She gonna be pretty, boy. Yes, sirree. All this green. Man, did we call this so long. We've been waiting literally a year. If you go on my podcast, Trade of the Year, that was like, no joke, 6 or 7 months ago. And I thought it was going to hit last year. But I said, even if it doesn't hit last year, it's going to hit this year. And so, again, information purposes only. This is not investment advice, but I really think this is a sexy play here. We got all green momentums. We have all these things here. And check this out. We're starting to see a momentum shift. So when interest rates do go down, the bond prices go up. This is 3 times TLT. This is 3 times the 20-year treasury. So when we have this, be on the lookout, because this is like a Nancy Pelosi type of trade. You could buy call options at 100. They're very cheap right now, guys. You can get them for dollar. The January 2026, I got to look at it, but when I saw it a few weeks ago, they were about a $1 contract, which would be $100 for 100 shares. And you could buy 10 contracts for $1,000. You could buy 30 contracts for $3,000. $3,000 if it hits $250,000. I'm sorry, $250. It would be roughly $110,000 if it goes in the money. So a huge leverage play here for those of you that want to take the risk, or you can simply just buy TMF and hold it, the ETF, and don't risk the operations, the expiration dates on options. You don't have to risk it all. However, this is a volatile investment, guys. Right now it's at 49.57. I'm probably going to be looking personally to be dumping another heavy down here at this point in time and juncture. I really think it's a safe investment, because when there's chaos, people go to treasuries. So not only do we have a stock market collapse, not only do we have a Bitcoin collapse, not only do we have inflationary issues, and not only do we have people moving to treasuries because of all those risks, but we have interest rates coming down and those bond prices will go up. So there's a lot of evidence that will increase this price point. And so when we have the price action that is saying, hey, look at me, I have momentum coming up. We've hit an all-time low. We've been a low through all this ruckus. Brother, this is a freaking gift. This thing is money. Like, I love this. And it's going to be fascinating. It's going to be fascinating if this thing freaking moons. I mean, if it goes back to where old home was, whew. If you're listening to this and you did put 5-10 grand in call options at 100, you just made several $100,000 listening to Scriptures in Wall Street. If it hits, can't guarantee it, but if it hits, I'm just saying, hey, this is for information purposes only. You got to be okay with the risk. Got to be okay with the risk, man. But I love just telling you what's out there, because when I was a kid, I didn't know any of this stuff. Just 10 years ago, I didn't know this stuff. I was told by some Wall Street idiots that since I'm Puerto Rican, I would never know anything about money. Like, my family doesn't come from money, so you should just call it quits. They told me that in my face. They told me I had to shave. They told me I couldn't wear jewelry. They told me I had to change my name from Carlos to Carl. They told me all these things. All that did was just motivate me even more. Tell me I can't do something and watch me freaking do it right in your face. That's just my personality, man. I think Trump said the greatest motivation is someone that will tell you no. And there is true. Look at look at him. Dude gets shot. Dude gets locked up in jail. Dude gets like so much stuff happened to him. Even if you think he's a huge psyop, got to respect his tenacity. Period. But we're not here to talk about hate. We're not here to talk about Donald Trump and why people worship him. We're not here to do any of that. We're just here to talk about finance and the manipulations and why you shouldn't invest with your emotions. You should invest with your morals, but not your emotions. And it's very hard because I'm guilty of it too. So yeah, that is my little markup right now. TNA, holy cow, man. I got to write that down. I cannot believe that, y'all. TNA got a buy signal. Woo-wee. So, all right. TNA got a buy signal. I'm going to break that down. I'm probably going to go live. I'm also going to talk about TMF. We talked about Bitcoin. We talked about SBIT. What else am I need to be looking at? Someone spoke to me. There is one more thing I wanted to bring up. So MicroStrategy Group, as you guys know, they hold like a boatload of like $500 million in Bitcoin. Like it is nuts what they have. So we're starting to see that red cloud, starting to see some red formation, meaning, yeah, there's confirmation that Bitcoin's going to go down. So a pretty good stock to have if you are interested in owning Bitcoin and can't afford Bitcoin. This might be the play. This might be the play for you if you are interested in owning Bitcoin and you want to be with a company or a stock that you can trade in and out without all the crazy fees of Bitcoin, then this would be an account or a stock that you could own and still have the ability to have that exposure. But this might even come down with, it will go down with Bitcoin, by the way. So pretty amazing stuff, man, like is happening right now. I like the volatility index. Oh, that was the other one. I like VIXY right now. I got a buy alert on VIXY. I got a buy alert on TNA. And TMF is looking sexy. Oh, my goodness. So exciting. Yeah, man, the sun is bright. The sun is bright, guys. So enough about that. Anyways, let me break to a commercial break real quick. You probably clicked this link because you don't trust the stock market. You know that it's manipulated. You know it's rigged for the big banks. You know that you can be financially inoculated with everything that's going on. And the reason why you're here is because you might have some FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Fearful because you don't know what's going on. Uncertainty because there's no one to talk to. And doubtful because there's no plan on what is about to come. But one thing, when it comes to retirement planning, if you don't have a game plan for whatever is about to come, then you are not prepared. It's time for you to protect your money outside of buying gold and silver. This is going to be the best thing because you're protected by contract law. Completely different animal, guys. Again, Carlos Cortez here. Hope I can hear from you. And let's just have a conversation to see if this strategy works for you. All right, one thing I wanted to share real quick. Another view on the SBIT trade. This is a buy signal that you see here. So I got confirmation, and you see the greens turning all greens. I actually took a trade on this today. I bought the $11 call options. They're pretty cheap right now. They're only $1. I only put a few bucks in. Please do not buy this. This is not investment advice. This is for education purposes only. Personally, I get to do whatever I want with my money. I'm just letting you know what I did with my own money. I bought this today at $11 strike price. I could lose it all. But if it goes past that $11, then I'm into money. And all the contracts that I have, it's 100 shares per contract. And I bought, I don't know, 50 of them, very small. And so it should be a big trade if it goes past $11. With Bitcoin shorting, with Bitcoin going down, then this will go up. And that's why I got this buy signal. So it's pretty powerful. I could be wrong. But once again, this is for information purposes only. Do not call my office and say, I lost money because I invested in what you recommend. I did not recommend, dummy. This is on you. I'm just providing the information on what I do. All right. So do not play victim card. I can't stand that. And I will let you know how I feel. So do not call me and try to disrespect what I'm saying and twist it, because we will not tolerate that at Cortez Wealth. I promise you that. Okay. So yeah, just wanted to share that. And man, it's just so many cool opportunities out there. Like I enjoy this stuff, man. Like we have TNA, TMF, Bitcoin, SBIT, VIXY. Oh, and the other thing I didn't talk about real quick while I'm getting all geeked up is QQQs. This thing is smoking, the NASDAQ. So for those of you that are retired, listen up. The NASDAQ is going to be an amazing vehicle for the next 4 or 5 years. I have nothing but green arrows here. So from a trading standpoint, it's going up. We have artificial intelligence. We have this UFO breakdown, which they're trying to use AI to figure all these UFOs out. Yeah, so we do have aliens. We do have extraterrestrial. So what? Like they're fallen demons. Us as believers in Christ, we knew this would be fallen demons. We knew that there's distractions. There's Project Bluebeam. There's all these things, right? How it comes to your money, though, the technology is going to be, like they say in Cali, gnarly. It is going to be insane, the technology. Like we have University of Exeter basically doing transhuman ideologies, and now they have a theology in transhuman, like what is right. So they want to play God. This is how Satan works. But we need to understand that these markets will reflect that. And so taking advantage of the manipulations, I would say, we want to make sure that you can make some of this upside. And the only way we can do that is through green money. So what I love about green money is that you could literally invest in a safe money bucket or allocate money into a safe money bucket. It is guaranteed never to lose money. And you can make 100% of this index I just showed you. Like imagine making 100% of this, never losing anything. And if I showed you the historicals, of the NASDAQ, I think you'll melt your face. It's impeccable. Actually, let me do that right now. So here is the historicals of the NASDAQ. Apologize for all the ad stuff. But this thing cooks, man. This thing rocks. 2025, already it's up almost past 1.5%. Just not even 2 months in, a 28% last year, a 43%, 2022, 33, negative 33. We make a 0, 21% in 21, a 2020, we made 43 during COVID, 2019, 35, and 28% in 2017. They lost in the war on tariffs, right? If history repeats itself, negative 3.8%. Now, with this technology that we have, these safe money accounts, you no longer have to lose with the NASDAQ. You only get the upside. Right now, I have an A-rated carrier that legit will give you 100% of the NASDAQ on your anniversary date. So every single year, whatever this does, you will get 100% of that. No fees and no risk. Imagine that. That wasn't even around. And as a matter of fact, if you ask your banker or your financial advisor that works for a woke company, say, hey, I would like to make 100% of the NASDAQ with no fees and no risk. Tell me how I can do that. I'm curious. Do yourself some homework. Ask your current advisor, I want to make 100% of the NASDAQ today, and I don't want to pay any fees, and I don't want to have any risk. See what or she says, and then call me. As a matter of fact, just email me, info@cortezwm.com. Let me know what they say. And I'll be glad to show you our recipe. Obviously, you got to hire us. We're not going to give out free information for everybody on our actual products, nor can I advertise actual products. But I'm just letting you know that there are A-rated carriers out there that will protect your principal, that will grow with the index. You could mathematically double your money every 4 to 6 years. How powerful is that? Or maybe you're 41 like me and you put 100 grand in and never touch it for 20 years. Do you have any idea? You have any idea what that would be? So let's just go to the compound calculator and see for yourself. This is a regular compound calculator by investor.gov, by the actual regulators, investor.gov, by the SEC. All we did was put 100,000 in a compound calculator. Imagine not putting anything else for the rest of your life, nothing. But we had 19 years. I'm using me as an example. And the estimated interest rate is 19%. There's no fees on that. And so what they actually do is they give you a little more than 19%. They'll actually, I would say possibly even 20%. There could be 30, could be 40 some years could be 0. So let's just use 20%. Interest rate variance range, I would even say 16 on some lower years. Actually, let's go even more conservative. Let's just say 15. So what this is going to do is going to give you a variance of some years are 15, some years are 20. That includes losses, right? So some years are negative 33%, like we just saw. And this is going to calculate annually. So in 19 more years, personally, I should have a projection of $3.194 million. Just letting it sit. Just letting it sit. And this is a compound calculator. Like, you could have this running for you. And what if you have more than 100,000? Maybe you're younger than me. Maybe you're older. Maybe you have 400,000 and you have you don't have 19 years, but maybe you have, I don't know, 8 years till you retire. By the way, you can take your money out whenever you want. Not 4,000, 400,000. Add another zero there. Recalculate. Yeah. So you had 400,000. You just 3.5 times it to 1.719 just inside of 8 years. This is how powerful this particular index is. This is how powerful when you get rid of your current advisor and invest in green money solutions. This is how powerful when you don't have any losses, you don't have any fees, you don't have any risk, and you have the ability to make 100% of an index that has performed over the past 45 years over 18%. Like, this is amazing. But why don't you have it in your retirement is because where you're getting your financial information from, where are you getting your environment from? That is the whole thing. And so as a former stockbroker, I wasn't allowed to talk about these things. I wasn't allowed to have access to these investments because once I realized, and actually they're not investments, they're insurance-based products. That's the huge thing. I wasn't allowed to talk about these things. They were just like bad. They wanted my clients in the portfolios. And this is why I know about stocks. This is why I know about the security side, because I grew up in that side. But I didn't learn about the insurance side till I lost clients to the insurance side, the safe money side. And you need insurance on your money if you're in retirement. You have to. Like, it is so beneficial for you because you have state chartered regulations backing you up. Speaking of SALT and state limits, you saw that Trump wants to get rid of SALT, the caps and the limitations on it, the state and local taxes, which is basically property taxes, which is basically he wants to get rid of state taxes. So that's going to be interesting, and that's a whole nother segment in itself. But I do like the initiative because in 1913 we didn't have income tax. We had tariffs. And at that point, tariffs were the way of how we generated money as economy. And there was no taxation at that point. It wasn't until 1913 when we had taxation. So we'll see how this goes. I don't think he can do it in 4 years, but I love the fact that there's an ERS out there instead of the IRS. Going to be amazing to see what this happens. And as a business owner, I would really, really admire that. So anyways, I wanted to basically let you know that if you're interested in a green money account, if you're interested in growing your asset in a safe way, then give me a call. We are really good at what we do. We can service pretty much anyone in the country, except for Hawaii and New York, only because I don't like the time frames, and New York is very difficult. They actually do not want to promote safety in New York. It's pretty bad. We can still work with you. We just can't do green money. But in all other 48, 49 states, we are extremely, extremely honored to be working with you, especially if you're a God-fearing patriot. We want to work with people that think like us, act like us. Unfortunately, I really don't work with a lot of Democrats. We love We love people, we love God, but unfortunately our values aren't lined up. And just because I'm a man of faith doesn't mean I have to do business with you. So just want to kind of clear the air on that. And I really appreciate you guys watching us. My scripture today actually is, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds. So we all have strongholds. We know that person that they say that the demons got him. Well, our Savior died on a cross. Our Savior didn't hate. And, I've been really convicted about this. When Jesus got whipped, his skin came off of his back because those whips were spiked. The ends of it had spikes on it, and it just shredded his skin off. It was said that the whipping alone that he took was enough to put you in a catastrophic state, even die from blood loss, let alone he had to carry a 500-pound cross. Maybe it was 1,000. I can't remember how heavy it was, but maybe it was 500 pounds up Calvary until they nailed him to the cross. They crucified him, and they speared him, and they spat on him and cursed at him and laughed at him and mocked him. And then after he's dying on the cross, they said, you know what? We're going to take this crown of thorns that are 3 inches long and smash your cranium. And even at that point, he had the right. He had the right to hate the Jews. He had the right to hate the Romans. He had the right to hate his own father, but he couldn't. And what does Christians mean? The actual word Christian. We are supposed to be Christ followers. We are supposed to pick up our cross. We're supposed to be persecuted. That doesn't mean we get to hate Jews. That doesn't mean we get to hate gay people. And I want to ask forgiveness, because if I showed hate in any way, I apologize publicly, because I believe I have. I know at one point in my life, I literally hated vaccinated people when I was dying in COVID, and God humbled me. I actually had racial resentment towards Chinese people. And when I was in the hospital dying from COVID, I had a Chinese doctor. The person that took me in was Chinese. The person giving me my medicine, which was a Z-Stat combination, Resdemivir, and some other stuff, were all Chinese. I had so much resentment in my heart. And I apologize to my Asian listeners, because it's not against you. It was just my own flesh, my own ish, so to speak. And then I remember the Calvary road, the road to Calvary. And Jesus literally died and went through suffocation so that we can be like him, so that he can forgive us of all of our crappy sins. This is why I would never promote hate, because at that time, Jesus had the right to say, I hate the Jews, I hate the Romans. And what did he say dying on the cross? He said, forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they do. Like he already knew. He already accepted it. It was a spiritual confidence that he had that I wish I had a small inclination of. It was that godly confidence, that stoicism, knowing that his Father had him in his hands. Now, my question to you is, where is that godly confidence in your life? If you know your name is written in the book of life, then why do we have anxiety? Why do we have worry? Why are we talking about money? Why are we worrying about retirement? Why are we worrying about if the Jews are the New World Order? Who freaking cares? Because you know what? You can kill me. You can try to kill me. Can't kill my soul, man. My soul is owned and commissioned to the Lord of all Most Highs, Jesus Christ. You can't kill me. You can kill me, but you're not going to kill my soul. It already contractually guaranteed by my Lord Savior Jesus Christ. He owns my soul. And if that bothers you, oh well. That is my faith. That is my faith. And I never knew why my father was a pastor. I never knew why I grew up poor. I never knew why I was a Spanish kid in a white neighborhood. I didn't know until 40 years later because of you guys in this podcast. That is why I call this show Scriptures in Wall Street. Because this message is bigger than me. And I'm honored I'm just honored to be the light and the salt. Even though I am a failure at many times and I sin, I'm still honored to be here. And I don't care what anyone says about who they hate and taxation this and for funding this agenda. We have to remember, guys, that your power comes from the cross, man. Your masculinity comes from the cross. There is nothing in life if you don't have faith. And if we're chasing the materialistic things, it will just fade away. And if you're tying your self-worth to these materialistic things like I did for many, many years, as a broker on Wall Street, I had to have the Rolex. I had to have the blonde hair chick on my side with big boobs and a juicy butt to make it look good. I had to do all these things to look the part, to look like I had it together. I was just broken. I was just broken, man. It is the cross that will deliver you. It is the cross that gives us the book of life, that gives us eternal life. And guess what? He also gives you knowledge on how to make money. He gives you knowledge on how to have fulfillment. He gives you knowledge on how to bypass anxiety and disorders and all these other stuff. And just like in Malachi 3, he says when we tithe and bring our tithes to the storehouse, he will fill our cup with so much blessings we can't even contain it. And he says, try me in this. Are we trying him? Or are we trying to manipulate him? Anyways, I'm sorry for getting emotional, guys. It just, many times I feel like quitting. And I feel that people are not, I just get all this stuff in my head. But honestly, I love what I do. I'll never quit. I get the human random thoughts, right? But you guys keep me going. Appreciate Mike, my producer, my editor. He's amazing. Shout out to Mike. You don't see him because he's behind the scenes. And thank you to networks that have me. We're growing. Scriptures in Wall Street is growing, humbly speaking. And I'll continue to bring content. I promise you. I continue to bring content. And it will not be a chore. It may not be perfect. I may not have an idea, but I'm always excited to just talk what's on my mind. Anyways, God bless you guys. Don't forget to book an appointment with us, CortezWM.com. You can visit us online. You can call us at 813-448-3446. You can download a free guide at AmericaFirstRetirementPlan.com. If you just want to learn more about our process and the color of money, AmericaFirstRetirementPlan.com. And if you just want to know how to protect your money and keep your current advisor, we can do that too. GreenMoneySolutions.com. Just go to GreenMoneySolutions.com, and we want to help you secure your retirement so you're not subject to being a victim of this next market crash. God bless. I'm out of here. You probably clicked this link because you don't trust the stock market. You know that it's manipulated. You know it's rigged for the big banks. You know that you can be financially inoculated with everything that's going on. And the reason why you're here is because you might have some FUD. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Fearful because you don't know what's going on. Uncertainty because there's no one to talk to. And doubtful because there's no plan on what is about to come. But one thing, when it comes to retirement planning, if you don't have a game plan for whatever is about to come, then you are not prepared. It's time for you to protect your money outside of buying gold and silver. This is going to be the best thing because you're protected by contract law. Completely different animal, guys. Again, Carlos Cortez here. Hope I can hear from you. And let's just have a conversation to see if this strategy works for you.